Commissioner Moore,
Here.
Commissioner Wallace,
Here.
and Commissioner Brown.
Commissioner Young will be unavailable today. County Fire Department, please stand and on the record.
Brad Johnston, Lyon County.
Mike Turner, Steve, Dr. Gaff, John Reed, Michael.
Gil Younger, Carson.
Lynn Bush, Mel. Corey Lidle, Lincoln.
Rex Flowers, Washoe. Miles Humphreys, Washoe.
Mr. Denny, Waco.
Paul Dixon, Park.
Rob, before we move to agenda item
Can't hear you.
Okay, Rob, before we move to agenda item number 2, can you please come up?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry about that. Let's do the pledge, please.
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Rob, it's your turn. And these microphones are different. When you're talking to these guys, you gotta be right on top of them.
For the record, Rob Buonamici, Chief Game Warden, and to my right here is Rob Beamer. He's new president of our Operation Game Thief Citizens Board. And just a quick history, Operation Game Thief Citizens Board was formed in 1987, and you have members on there that go out for the purpose of raising money to pay rewards for our Operation Game Thief program. And they've also purchased promotional items, outfitted the OGT trailers that many of you have seen, so forth. So they've done a tremendous service to our law enforcement program with Department of Wildlife here, and are responsible for a lot of the Operation Game Thief materials, advertisements that you see and have seen over the years. So with that, we'd like to recognize some of the members that are going off the board. One of them is Norm Budden. He served on the board from 2005 to 2013. To accept the award for him here is Don Quillisi. And basically, it's a certificate of appreciation. This certificate is proudly presented to Norm Budden, 2005 to 2013 OGT Citizens Board member. The Nevada Department of Wildlife extends its gratitude to you for the time and efforts you so unselfishly donated to the Operation Game Thief Citizens Board. So that's for Norm Budden.
I'd like to accept this on behalf of Norm Budden. He cannot be here today. He had surgery on both eyelids. I talked to him yesterday, and he said he can see a little bit, but he looks like a raccoon. Gladly accepted on his behalf.
It's not the right person.
Don't go anywhere, Don. This was also a ploy to get Don Quillisi here. Don Quillisi has been on the Operation Game Thief Board since its inception in 1987, March of 1987 to be exact. He served as president on that board for all but about 7 years. So he has gone above and beyond in his support for wildlife protection in the state of Nevada. He has attended national meetings for Operation Game Thief over the years. He's just been a tremendous asset. He's had radio shows, TV shows out of Carson City. Has written for the Nevada Appeal, writes an outdoor column currently, and is always there supporting the Department of Wildlife and its game wardens. So with that, I'd like to present to Don Quillisi certificate certificate of appreciation for 26 years of service. Tremendous accomplishment. Thank you. And then we have Elaine Quillisi. Dawn's better half by far. She has served as secretary, kept all the books for the board since 2006 for us. So that's an effort in itself for those of you who've been secretary and managed the records keeping and kept track of all the 501(c) stuff and on and on. And in addition, she's hosted most of the OGT boards at their home at meetings. So anyway, we'd like to present to her Elaine Quillisi for her service since 2006. Thank you.
If I can, again, I'd be remiss if I didn't make this point that in 1987, Rob Buonamici and myself approached the Hornsby Sportsmen's Association in Carson City for a donation so we could start the Operation Games Citizens Board, and they very graciously started us with a donation of $500.
So, for the record, Rob Beamer, President of the Nevada Operation Game Creek Citizens Board. With that, we would like to present Norm Budden with a plaque of appreciation of his service from the OGT Board, as well as we're going to go ahead and I guess, go ahead and present one to Dawn and Elaine as well. No. They've done such a great job for us and really made Operation Game Thief Citizens Board really what it is. And we wouldn't have been able to achieve where we're at now with the board and doing all the things that we've accomplished and and for future accomplishments as well. Just a kind of a brief, kind of something that's going on currently right now is we created a Nevada Operation Game Thief video that is being shown in all the hunter education and angler education classes throughout ethics in the outdoors, and of course promote our stop poaching program and with the hopes to decrease wildlife violations across the city. And with that, coupled with the Operation Game Thief wall of shame trailers that many of you have seen, I hope, we hope to get the word out about how serious wildlife crimes are, and certainly enlist the public's assistance in reporting those crimes, or when something just doesn't seem right, reporting it. And so with that, I present Don Quillisi with over 30 years worth of service to the Operation Game Thief Citizens Board, and Elaine Quillisi as well. And then Norm Budd, we'll go ahead and give that to Don, and he can make sure that Norm gets that. With that, one thing that Rob failed to mention is that Elaine not only has hosted our meetings, but she is one of the best cooks that a group could have. And so at our meetings, we're pretty spoiled. She provides dinner for us, and we thought it would be only suiting to make sure that she had a little bit of link to go with that. And you can see it says VIP honorary chef. So we'll present that with you as well.
Thank you.
And we appreciate you both, and we appreciate Norm as well. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to agenda item number 2, approval agenda. Anybody on the commission have any comments on the agenda that you can see? None, it is an action item. We'll take it out. Anybody in the public have anything on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll bring it back. We have a motion by Commissioner McGinn, second by Commissioner Wallace. further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passed unanimous. Member announcements and correspondence. I'll start. I've got a couple announcements I think I want to go over. SB 213, we were given a charge by the legislative body and the governor signed it. We were told we needed to do something when it came to registering traps, and Commissioner Drew and I, through that legislative process, made guarantees that we would do everything possible to get that stuff in order. We had multiple meetings on it. We even held a special meeting. And those of you who attended it, we did that special meeting twice. We did it, and there were some people in Las Vegas that were unable to hear what was going on. So we started that same meeting from scratch, and we did that meeting twice. So we've done everything we can to get information put together in an order that we believe that the intent of the law wants us to do. With that being said, it got back down to Carson City for final approval of our NAC, and because that law was written too broad and it included rodents and people trapping mice in their house, and farmers trapping gophers on their property, part of the legislative body that gave it to us took it back away, and they did not approve what we did in our meetings. They tabled that portion of the law until the next legislative session so they can clean it up, and then it will be coming back to this body for adoption if it makes it to the next legislative session. But the way it was written, what body is that down there in Carson City? The Legislative Council or something like that?
Commission, Legislative Commission, this microphone does keep functioning. It's probably a good thing.
So they wouldn't approve what we've done. So I think this body held true to its commitment to do everything we could to get something in place. And with the way that everything came together. So anybody else, Commissioner Drew, Commissioner Buonamici, both on those committees who were present during a lot of that.
Yeah, just a quick follow-up. In talking to one of the members of the Legislative Commission, I kind of asked for their opinion as to how the hearing went and kind of their input coming out of that. And basically their comment to me was that the commission and the department did everything within their power to meet the letter of the law, but there was no way for us to meet the intent of the law, and that's why they voted not to support the regulation at this time. And so that was kind of the input I got back from one of the council members, and they just wanted to suggest to everyone in the audience that I think we did our job and did everything in our power, the department did everything in their power to meet the commitments and the expectations of this body. And it was a legislative decision, and I don't know that we've got a whole lot of pull or power to change that. So that's kind of where it is for me at this point.
All right, thank you. Anything else on that portion? And then the other correspondence that I received quite a bit and had quite a few phone calls on was the Sheldon and what happened during the government shutdown this year on the Sheldon and how it impacted people that had quite a few points in the draw. Finally drew a Sheldon tag and then ended up not being able to participate in the hunt because Sheldon was closed for the majority of the season during their early year season. So they requested that some of those guys are asking that they don't want to tag next year, they just want to have their bonus points reinstated. Some of them, it was 7, 8 bonus points to draw that tag. Some of them were on party hunts and they all drew and they were all unable to participate in their hunt. So I said I'd bring it up during member items and then bring it up later during the tag allocation committee to see if there's any relief that we can give those gentlemen that were unable to hunt this year, and see if there's anything we can do going forward, recognizing that BLM, Forest Service, gotta see what we can do to maybe offer some relief in those situations, so guys aren't burning up a bunch of points and losing their opportunity. So I'll bring it up again, tag allocation committee tonight. That's my 2 member items. Anybody else have any member items? What else? Short member item, I think it's been last quite a while. We'll move on to item number 4, County Advisory Boards to manage wildlife. Any County Advisory Board have any member items you want to bring forward? Mr. Johnson?
Brad Johnston, Lyon County Cal. I just, in the event this commission hasn't heard, I think it's necessary that I inform you of a very unfortunate incident that occurred in Mason Valley about 2 or 3 weeks ago. A person out walking their dog on a private ranch. The dog was unfortunately caught in a beaver trap along the Walker River and was killed. The owner, I think, also had to get treatment for a laceration on his hand. That resulted in a flurry of letters to the editor in the local newspaper, and I know this has been a topic that comes up time and time again, but I thought it's important for the commission to know that that did occur, and it's a very unique set of circumstances because it happened on a private ranch. I happen to know the company that is farming that ranch. The trapper had permission from the property owner to be trapping in the area. A lot of the farmers in Mason Valley do not post no trespassing and let people walk along the roads, along the fields, and walk their dogs. And I just see with the letters that responded to, it's a tragic circumstance, and no one wants to see it happen. The backlash towards property owners, and now is this going to cause people to start, saying nobody's going to go on their farms and that when they use these ranch roads to walk their pets and that. And there was a response and a call for people to contact their legislator and all that to make sure this doesn't happen again. I don't know how you prevent such a scenario from occurring when you have a trapper doing lawful activity on private property and people entering private property like that. So I just felt the need to let you all know that that incident did happen. The second thing is that we now have 2 vacancies on our Citizen Advisory Board in Lyon County, and this was something that came up during the legislative session. And that was went to the Lyon County Commission meeting yesterday. The new statute on how to fill vacancies on the CABs looks to be, it's going to be very, very difficult in the rural counties because now we need to get recommendations from organizations that are hunter groups and that. We have this component of someone from the general public who's not involved in farming or ranching, or that could be one reading of it. It's just going to be difficult. I believe that the person can be a representative of the general public and not disqualified because they're in farming or ranching or hold a hunting license. But the fact that you have to go out and get organizational recommendations, I don't even know who we're supposed to go to in Lyon County. We have Ducks Unlimited there in Mason Valley. It just looks like it's going to be a challenge in some of the rural counties to follow the exact intent with getting these recommendations from various groups, because I don't know, and I don't think the commission understands exactly how they're supposed to proceed. So I want to draw that to the commission's attention as well, that this may be a problem in the Lyon and in the rural counties as these vacancies come up. So that's it. Thank you.
Mr. Dixon?
For the record, Paul Dixon, Chairman Clark. To address your question of filling vacancies, we just filled our vacancy on Clark County CAB by the Clark County Commission, and they chose to choose a person who has a hunting and fishing background to fill the general public. And what they chose was of the 5 candidates who applied, the person with the best credentials. And I talked to that person, asking him to spend more time reaching out to the groups than he has in the past. He was a former member of the board, to make sure that he represents their concerns to the board up there, and we'll let it go at that. I think that the law was softened a lot as far as, because it did at one point say you couldn't hold a hunting and fishing license, and if you start talking about intent, the law doesn't say anything about it. It just says you have to have someone who represents the general public. It doesn't say what the qualifications have to be to do that. That's my reading, and that was the county council's reading in Vegas. 3 other short things that I wanted to share. One is that I was asked to bring up to this commission and the Department of Wildlife, is when will video conferencing going to be available? We've been talking about getting that. I know there have been budgetary things. If we could get a status update that I can give our next CAB meeting, that would be very nice, Tony and others. As far as fishing goes, I also lost a second board member here. He resigned right before my last meeting. He represented fishing. And the reason why he resigned, and I'll tell this commission this, is that he felt that although fishing accounts for 2/3 of our license fees in this state, basically there's 2/3 more license for fishing than there is for hunting, he felt that we did not represent fishing appropriately. At the commission level, we spent a lot of time on big game and other things, and fishing always tends to take the back seat. And he became frustrated after 2 years and resigned. And I would implore this commission to start looking at, we spend a lot of time on traffic, we spend a lot of time worrying about the bears, and not that they're not important, but fishing as a thing, as sport that goes on in the state, it's really the backstage. When you put that with hunting and season setting, all of a sudden fishing doesn't even come to the forefront anymore. And that's a concern that we have down south, because fishing is one of the big things that we can do down south, because we don't have the wilderness areas and animal populations you have in the north. And finally, I'm glad this is up here on the screen, because it was brought up to me is that there was a concern raised by a citizen in Clark County that they caught somebody poaching. They logged onto their iPhone to the NDL website, they get the cover page you're seeing here, and they didn't know who to call, because there's not a little Operation Game Thief sticker on the front page anymore. And they took them about 15 minutes to figure out what's going on, and by the time they figured it out, the person had left with what they were doing and they were unable to do things. But they would like to know if there could be on the splash page in the front of this, something that says, poaching, it's basically 1-800, game thief. That could be posted on the front page so it's easier for people to see. Us in this area know about it, but a lot of people who just log on or see things, it's kind of hard to navigate the new website for some reason. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
You want to address the video conferencing right now? So the question was asked if we can get it done right now, that'd be great.
Sure. For the record, Patrick Cates. Video conferencing equipment, we have been working with the video conferencing vendor for the state for the last couple of months to get that equipment in place. We should have the video conferencing equipment in place in time for the next commission meeting that's in Reno, which will be in March. One of the issues that has delayed us getting that in place has been the renovations of Valley Road. That room was used for our public lobby and our front counter. It's being used for storage currently, so we couldn't get in there to install any equipment. That work is completed, and we're moving back to Valley Road in the next couple of weeks. So the room will be free and we'll be able to install that equipment. It's been quite a challenge for the vendor to come up with a workable configuration for that room at Valley. It's not a particularly big room. It's also a multi-purpose room. So they've looked at multiple configurations, and there's pros and cons of each way to do it to optimize where screens are placed so that people can see them. And we've went through several rounds of possible layouts. In fact, we're supposed to get together in the next couple of weeks to hopefully have a finalized plan. But we have the money in place. It's a state good of the state contract in place. It's just a matter of configuration, deciding on that, and getting them to install it. But it looks like it should be in place for the March meeting.
Follow-up question to that. If we have it in place at Valley Road, where will we be able to cooperate with to make it available to the public in, say, Elko or Las Vegas?
We will also have video conferencing equipment in the conference rooms at the NDL office in Las Vegas and the NDL office in Elko. We know that we will be able to patch that system into other systems statewide, so if we have a particularly an issue where we expect large public participation, there's a possibility that in one of those satellite locations we could do it somewhere else, for instance at Great Basin College or something like that. Once we get everything installed, then we have the ability to patch in those other systems. But basically the intent is Valley Road, when we have those meetings in Reno, and then the NDL offices in Elko and Vegas for the public to come. They're not very big rooms, so say if there are big issues and lots of public, we have to consider other things.
Commissioner Lane?
Can I just ask, Chairman, that the video conferencing is going to be available via internet, so that people can watch the videos on their computer, or is that something totally separate from the video conferencing?
For the record, Patrick Cates. Yes and yes. We do intend to stream it on the internet. It is separate from the video conferencing itself. We have been negotiating with a company called Granicus. They do the Clark County meetings, they do local county meetings, and it's basically a box that records the meeting, uploads the video to their website in the cloud, and streams it on the internet simultaneously. We intend to deploy that at the same time that we deploy the video conferencing equipment. And if I could just add one other thing, I just want to remind everybody that the purpose of the video conferencing equipment, in addition to supporting the commission, is to support NDOW staff. NDOW staff meetings, we have a lot of coordinating meetings, trainings, that sort of thing, where we have to shuttle people around the state currently. And that's really what started us on this road to do video conferencing. But we hope to do both and be ready for that in March.
Okay, we're kind of getting off track. We're still on County Advisory Board. Anybody else have anything else we got? Come on.
For the record, Miles Humphries Jr., with Washoe County Advisory Board. It was brought up at the last meeting that there is roughly, that we know of, 15 plus horses on the Washoe Lake State Parks and the Scripps Wildlife Management Area. And we spoke with Alan Janae about it, and he said that he's working on it, and it's something that is in coordination with the Department of Ag, but it seems like they're going to possibly be dragging their feet on it. And we're asking the commission to make themselves available to get these horses out of that area and protected Scripps Wildlife part of it. There's a bunch of things that need to be taken into consideration, what the boundaries are. I guess there's some fences that were cut and some fences that were damaged, and the general public, they want the horses off, and they want some action done now. That's basically most of the argument, but it seems like it's going to be quite some headache. Seems out with the Department of Ag, it's their issue. But these horses, we all took a vote on it, and we'd like to see them off there, because if you go onto the website of Washoe Lake State Parks, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that don't remove or bother any of the foliage. And with these wild horses being there, only going to grow to get bigger, they're going to create more problems, create more headaches for the wildlife that is in that area. So we're asking the commission if they can be available to step in and assist with the problem that's going on there with the wild horses. Okay, that's all.
Thank you. Any other county advisory boards have anything? Being none, we'll move on to agenda item number 5, approval of minutes. We have the minutes from the September 20th and 21st meeting and the October 7th special meeting. Has everybody had time to review the minutes? Any questions, comments, or concerns on the minutes? Okay, it's an action item. I'll take it out to the public. Any public comment on the minutes? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission for a motion.
To approve.
Have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of both meetings. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passed unanimous. Moving on to agenda item number 6, petition. Jared of Nevada Tannery. Come on up and
Hello, Jared and Nevada Tannery for the record. I have a petition to have tanneries and wholesale providers for taxidermists be separately regulated and not be regulated the same as taxidermists. You guys have the paper that I submitted several months ago. Everybody have one. I have copies if you don't of them. Basic. You guys have them. Well, I guess I'm just here, first time I've ever been to one of your meetings, so I'm just here to try and get this law for the taxidermist amended to read that we're not regulated exactly the same as the taxidermists. And I've been trying to get a tannery going in Fallon for some time now. It's well on its way to being in operation, but I've been approached by the Department of Wildlife game wardens, and they had an issue with the fact that I was not holding all tags for the animals that would be in my possession as a tannery. And there's no way that a tannery can hold all those records for the required 2 years. It would be completely impossible and make it so a tannery within this state an unfeasible operation. Every other state within the country does not require it, so taxidermists would not give the tannery the information in any other state. So there's no way they're going to get the information from a tannery within their own state. Or want to give that information to the tannery within their own state. So the rule, the way it applies now, would effectively make it impossible for a tannery to be operating within the boundaries of Nevada. I would like to get that rule, or the NAC, I guess it is, amended.
Okay. And you understand the petition process. You bring this forward to us. We either accept it or deny the petition. At the point that we do that, if we accept the petition, that's when the regulation process starts. So if we accept it today, that doesn't mean something's changed. That means staff will draw up new regulations, submit it to the LCB, bring it back, and then we will make a formal vote on whether we change the law or not. So acceptance of a petition today doesn't mean we've changed anything at all.
No, I understand.
Okay.
I've spoken to Tony and Rob, and we have I think a basic understanding that we're working in that direction.
Okay. Any questions on the commission? Commissioner McDowell.
This question is probably to Rob, Chief Buonamici, with respect to, there's nothing in the petition that explains what the statutory structure is in other states that have pools. And if there is some kind of required ARS change, it's going to be necessary to do something. It seems like that what is being referenced here is taxidermy, and is the current statute that we have for taxidermy broad enough to cover this? And then what are the examples of the regulations that are out there in other states? I don't see any discussion of any of that in this. I'm just curious where we are as a state of Nevada with respect to how to regulate a tannery.
I think Rob may be able to get to it more specifically, but bottom line, it has to do with chain of custody of hides, and the state doesn't currently draw a distinction in the regulation between taxidermists and tanneries. And so currently, the current regulation, the expectation is that somebody trying to establish a tannery would have taxidermy stub or name and license, tag number for the owner of each and every hide, as a taxidermist is required to, and it makes it really cumbersome for the tannery, whereas the taxidermists just want to bring those hides into the tannery, and as long as the tannery can identify the taxidermist responsible for those hides, and the taxidermist has all the records for the individual hunters. And so there's some redundancy in treating the tannery similar to the taxidermist. There's redundancy in that record keeping because we don't draw a distinction for tanneries. But as far as what other states do, I don't know. Chief Buonamici may be able to address that, or correct me if I'm misspeaking.
For the record, Rob Buonamici, Chief Game Warden. Other states do treat tanneries different than the taxidermist in general. I couldn't recite nationwide, what each state does, but they do in general treat them different. And with regards to, is there a requirement needed in NRS to allow for tanneries? Right now, NRS is specific to taxidermists, but I think we would have the leeway, and we'd have to get together with our DAC, but I think we could come up with some leeway there to include tannery as a form of taxidermy with a slightly different set of regulations that oversee the quote tanneries.
Okay, so you think it's doable based on the way our statutes are written right now? I just didn't want to get into, something that's not going to work, accept a petition that isn't going to work, so I was just curious where you were with that issue.
Yes, I do believe it's doable, but I haven't got together with our DAG yet to confirm that.
Any other questions from the commission? Commissioner Quist?
Make a motion.
Well, we can't get to the motion, we have to take public comment. Okay, any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the commission. Now, I'm going to make the motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the petition presented before us today by Mike Warren.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we're moving on to agenda item number 7. Petition Travis Bertrand, Blackthorn 209.
For the record, Travis Bertrand. I'm here to ask for you guys to blackload to the night powder in the muzzleloading season. I believe it was in 2011. You guys had a lot of questions on this, and so for that fourth meeting, basically you guys said it's a smokeless powder and it's not, per the regulations, not allowed in the muzzleloading season. So I came here with, I could get a handout, basically, what is black lead to the night powder. Under the Canadian Energy Research and USDOT, United Nations, they all classify it as a black powder substitute. It's in the same category as 777, Pyronex, which is UN 0499, whereas smokeless powder is UN 0161, I believe. Yeah, 1.3C UN 0161. Differences between a smokeless and the black powder substitutes. Black powder, the black 129, like all other black powder substitutes you load them volumetrically, it's the same as a black hole, as same as traditional black powder. And so it doesn't vary. And you can tell by the charts on the sheet that I gave you, the pressures aren't any greater than 777 or any other black powder substitutes. So it's not any dangerous, you're still loading at the same volumetric load. Also smokeless powders, they'll come to detonate when you have them contained. Same with black 129 and 777, it's not possible with black powder substitute. And also, black 129 is not a smokeless powder because you can't load it into a cartridge, certify it down and chart it. And if you could say the same for 777 or any other substitute. It's just the process is very differently. It's new technology. That's why there's so many questions on it. There's more. The chemical makeup's a little bit differently. They use more carbon and oxygen sources more than other black powder substitutes, and they do use some nitrocellulose, which is the main component and a smokeless powder, but that doesn't mean it is a smokeless powder. You know, a smokeless powder, you gotta look at the whole chemical makeup. And I believe that's not what happened when you guys made that decision last time. I had 81 emails from people in Nevada saying that they'd like you to, take a look at this and allow black one to the night. They range from anywhere from legalized black one to the night to a 2-page document. So, I'll give these to you.
Okay. Any questions from the commission? Seeing nobody else does. Mr. Drew?
Mr. Chairman, am I understanding this has been brought up previously, is that correct?
I know we've discussed it, but I don't know if we've gone through the petition process. It's been a discussion, but I don't believe it's been a petition to this point. Rob, we haven't seen a petition on this.
No.
Okay.
In 2011, you guys sent out letters to muzzleloader hunters saying that black one 209 was, you guys said was a smokeless powder, therefore you cannot use it in muzzleloader season. That was a letter sent out from you guys in 2011.
Okay. The question I have for you is, there's an obvious reason you're here because you want to use it.
Yes.
And what tells me after that is if you want to use it, there's an advantage to having this over 777 or foreign black powder or whatever.
I'm new to muzzleloader hunting and I research everything that I do, I'm one of those guys. And what I found is it's a safer powder because like 777 leaves a cutting on, when you shoot, you gotta clean it each shot. Well, black one 209 minimizes that. So it's not more accurate than any other, other powder, but that cutting gets more eliminated. So you have less of an opportunity of not pushing your bullet on top of your powder and seating further. And to me, it's a big safety thing because, I'm new at this, the muzzleloader thing, and I want to be as safe as possible. Like I said, I put tons of research out there, and I have 200-300 rounds down range in my muzzleloader from this season, and I have a load of 777, and it's awesome. I can't get more accurate than that. So, it's not an accuracy thing. It's not a distance thing. It's safety. You still get a cloud of smoke when you fire.
Right. And where I'm at with it is, I don't know if it's a safety issue. I believe it's an ease of use issue. I've muzzleloader hunted. I've taken a bull with a muzzleloader. I've hunted deer with a muzzleloader quite a few times. And in traditional powders, you can push first, second, third, but fourth and fifth bullet don't go in. You have to clean your gun. And that's, I believe, the reason that you have 82 emails is just over convenience of use of this. You can get 15 shots out of it and then clean your gun instead of the 3 or 4 that is traditional. And I understand why people want to do that. But in understanding that, I also have the belief that the reason we have a separate season for muzzleloader is there's some things that don't make it as easy. The one-shot aspect, the loading it. We keep taking away the disadvantage by changing these rules, and we have this technology creep going forward. You start to bump up next to the characteristics of the 30-30 rifle, or you're taking away the disadvantage, and the disadvantage is the reason you have a separate season. When you start chipping away at that enough, why do we even have a separate season for that? And when it was originally brought into being with archery and muzzleloader, it was seen as a primitive type weapon, or you had a disadvantage, and we just keep chipping away at those disadvantages, which tells me why do we have a separate season for that? Why don't we just have a early rifle season, a late rifle season? Because these muzzleloaders are getting to the performance of a lot of rifles, or rifles of the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. So, and that's when the muzzleloader came into being. So, I'm struggling with what you're trying to bring forward here. And if you can tell me it's a safety issue, I would ask Rob if we've ever had any incidents with anybody that we know of pushing a bullet, having one go off. I mean, I've pushed a lot, and yeah, it's scary. You're out hunting and you fire at an animal and you want to get another load down. You got a hot barrel and you're throwing powder down a hot barrel. It makes you think if you've been trained in gun safety, but I think it's just a clean barrel issue is what people want to use this. I'm not in favor of technology creep.
Chairman Robb, you said yourself 4 to 5 rounds. The 5th round is what you can't do. I can't think of a time on the field where I made more than 5 shots, especially in a muzzleloader situation where it takes a minute to reload. The 15, that'd be more convenience as far as target shooting. I don't see advantage in the field. Like with the example that you gave, I fired 2 shots this year out of my muzzleloader at an animal, and I don't see how that, the distance is still the same, everything else is the same. 4 to 5 shots is kind of, I could not see a situation where you need that many to put down an animal with a muzzleloader. And also, this is the only state that has outlawed Blackburn 209 powder.
Anybody else? Commissioner Muniz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, just to validate, the use of Blackhorn 209 in any illegal weapon season in muzzleloader is not a problem, is that right?
If you wanted to use it.
It's legal. Okay. So it's not a function of outlawing it, Mr. Bertrand. I think, Commissioner Robb's really laying it out for me in a lot of ways. I've seen a lot of things come through dealing with the muzzleloader hunt. It was intended to be a more primitive based hunt, more primitive. That's really what it exists for. So, the opportunity does exist to use this powder in a muzzleloader in any legal weapon already. So it's not a function of prohibition. It's a function of we're saying if we're going to have this muzzleloader hunt, if we want it to be what it was intended for, which was to be more primitive hunt, something that's more challenging. It's not something where you can, you have to put your gun every 3 rounds or 4 rounds or something. So I just share some of the same concerns, and that was the intent of that muzzleloader hunt the whole time. So I guess my question to you is how would approving Blackhorn 209 maintain that concept of a primitive hunt with regards to the muzzleloaders? That's really, it's not a safety issue for me. It's a function of what is that, how does it not detract from the capacity?
I don't see how it could detract because you get the same characteristics out of 777, except you don't have to clean it 15 times. Commissioner Robb said, 15 shots versus 5. And that's in a hunting situation. If you shoot more than 5 times, I don't see how that would affect it. You know what I'm saying? And also, I'm here to amend or to change NAC 503.142, which is the muzzleloader season, which is what you guys say Blackburn 209 is. And I understand you can have it during any legal weapon season, but it maintains the muzzleloader season because it doesn't gain you accuracy, doesn't gain you range. To me, it's a safety issue. And even if it saves one person from blowing up a gun, 200 miles out in the middle of nowhere, I think it'd be worth it.
Commissioner Drew.
I guess I'll disagree with my 2 colleagues that I'm sitting in between for fun's sake, but to me, the new inline muzzleloaders are the technology creep, and I don't necessarily know that it's a powder issue. For me, and the things, my experience, it's more of a sight issue of taking that shot from open sight. So I don't have as big an issue with Blackhorn 209. I just don't think it gives you more of an advantage than any other powder in inline or modern muzzleloader, in my experience. But I would ask maybe Chief Buonamici just to refresh our memory as to why this didn't work the last time, why the letter went out in 2011, because my memory is not very good. And also just ask if there has been a change in any of the classifications, or if there's been a change since 2011 in terms of, I know there was some specific language that there was an issue with, so maybe the chief could fill us in on that.
For the record, Rob Buonamici, Chief Game Warden. The issue came about 2011 from a muzzleloader that, actually a couple of muzzleloaders that contacted our office and asked if Blackhorn 209 was legal. And at the time, we didn't know. So we researched it, so forth. And indeed, we did determine it was illegal based on our